Alright, what's up everybody? It's your Friday boy Kaiden. I apologize that you guys didn't see my video from last week. It is uploaded, but for some reason it's not showing on the actual video upload page. So I am going to end up deleting that tomorrow and re-uploading a new one to see if maybe the file, there was a problem with the file. YouTube has hated me recently, so I apologize for that. But you'll get that video also this weekend sometime. Hopefully tomorrow afternoon. If I could re-upload the old one, that'll be even better, but I don't think that'll take because that's the third time I've tried to do it. So I might have to just re-film it, but that's okay with me. As far as this week's topic, we're talking about compliments that kind of reduce our transness to being, you can be trans or you can be attractive, or you can be trans but everybody's supposed to know all the time, or things like that. Like, everybody can always tell when there's a trans person in the room and things like that. So people saying things like, oh, you're so attractive for a trans person, or I couldn't even tell that you were a trans person. I wouldn't even have been able to tell if you didn't tell me, things like that. And I think those comments are pretty ridiculous, because even us as trans people, we can't spot every trans person to walk the planet, because people do pass, and even if they don't, there are ambiguous looking people in this world that exist and are perfectly fine existing, and nobody has a problem with them just existing. So for people to say that they can tell or they wouldn't have been able to tell, that's kind of, I always take that as kind of a slap in the face. However, I never know how to respond in situations like that, because I'm a very non-confrontational person. And so if you put me in a situation where I have to be confrontational with somebody that I'm not close with, or that I don't know that my safety is going to be okay, I have a really big problem doing so sometimes. And so a lot of the times I just kind of roll my eyes and walk away, or I say some kind of like sarcastic, snarky remark that they won't necessarily understand, but if there are other queer people around, they would get it. And it kind of takes the relief of the tension off of me, because I feel like I've stood up for myself in a way that wasn't blatantly being rude to somebody that could put me in harm's way. And so I think that's always been my best comeback to things like that. It's just snarky little witty, sarcastic remarks that the average, everyday, cisgender, straight person wouldn't understand, whereas the queer community would. As far as everything else like that goes, when people tell me that I'm attracted for a trans person, it's not something that I take offense to necessarily, though, because a lot of people don't know a lot of openly out trans men, for that matter. And so when they say that, a lot of the times it's not coming for or from a place of ignorance. It's coming from a place of ignorance, not a place of disrespect. And so I really try my best to give people the benefit of the doubt there. Now, if they're doing it in a asshole-ish way, that's a completely different story. But most people just really don't know a lot of trans people, and the trans people they do know are what the media portrays as being the average trans person. And there is no average trans person, because we're all different. So for somebody to say that we all look like this, or we're all this way, or we're all this, and we all fit in this one box, that's not true. The only box that we all fit in is the trans umbrella. And the way we express our transness is completely different based on every individual, and so on and so forth. And so a lot of people aren't coming from that angle of disrespect. They're just coming from an angle of, I've never met a trans person, and the trans people I do know, the media is telling me is they're just men in dresses and things like that. And so it's hard for people to sometimes connect that that's not really a compliment, but they mean well a lot of the times. Now, there are people that don't mean well and are just assholes. And those are the people that you have to really take it upon yourself to realize when it's coming from a place of disrespect and when it's coming from a place of sincere, just they have no idea. And I think the more we point out these issues and talk about them and post videos and post forums and get more people talking about things like this, the more people will understand, because this is still very new to a lot of cis people. Even though we've been around forever, it's always been a thing, it's always going to be a thing. But for people to start accepting it and start coming to terms and start trying to learn more about it and what is right and what is wrong, it's not going to be an easy process for a lot of people. And they are going to make mistakes, but we can't keep condemning them for making mistakes. We have to be willing to let people make mistakes, correct them, and give them a chance to be better. If we just condemn them all the time from the beginning because they fucked up, we're never going to get to a place where there is any kind of growth, because we don't give people second chances. And I'm not saying that people that come from a place of disrespect deserve a second chance, because I don't believe that at all. If people are blatantly outright disrespectful and can harm you as a person, or you are in a place of danger or anything of that sort, do not put yourself in that situation. They do not deserve a second chance. If they're going to be an asshole all over again, there's no reason to. But if people are genuinely ignorant, not ignorant in the sense of degrading and disrespectful, but ignorant in the sense of they really have no clue, I think they deserve a buffer window. And I really try to practice that in my own life and try to give people the benefit of the doubt. And a lot of people that I know that really have no idea always preface a lot of their things like, or after they say something, they're like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, and if I say something wrong, please let me know, but I really just have no idea and I'm curious. And I think that's a really, really good relationship to have with the people in my life. Because no, everybody in my life is not in the queer community. Everybody in my life does not completely understand all this trans stuff. And that's fine with me, because I will be that person to help them learn, because that's the type of person that I am. And so everybody responds differently to all this stuff. Sometimes you have good days, sometimes you have bad days. If you're really dysphoric, you're going to react differently than on days when you're having a really good day and you're feeling good about yourself. So it's really just one day at a time. But my suggestion to cis people is really, really think about what you're saying before you say it. Because sometimes, even though it may not come off as disrespectful, its impact over intent is a huge, huge thing, especially in the trans community, especially when people are early on in their transitions, because your entire identity completely lies in the hands of other people seeing you as who you are and who you say you are. And so if somebody comes at it from an angle like that, it seems a lot more disrespectful to that person, because you're constantly on edge about people saying you correctly. And so just both sides need to be aware that we're all trying to come to a common ground. And the more we help each other get there, the easier it's going to be. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'm about to head into the bar. I'll see you guys next week.